edition of Going Deep with me, Richard Mills, and our special guest is Bing Sibal-Limjoco. Her official title is Chief Executive Officer of FranCorp Philippines, but she's better known to many people as the mother of Philippine franchising. She has done a fantastic effort over her lifetime building Philippines into certainly one of the top franchise markets in Southeast Asia. She's currently Vice Chairman of the Philippine Franchise Association, Vice Chairman of the Philippine Retailers Association. This is a very large business group in the nation. Also involved, Chairperson of the Philippine International Franchise Conference Expo, a very large event, and has really done a lot to develop prominent chain franchise organizations. Potato Corner, the Generics Pharmacy, Bench, Penshoppe, on and on. So, a very special guest, and welcome to you, Bing. Glad to have you with us today.
Thank you so much, Richard. It's my pleasure and honor to be your guest.
Okay, you're very kind. Well, Bing, maybe if you could start just by telling everyone a short history of your career and who you are.
Okay. My real name is Maria Alegria Bing Sibal-Limjoco. Okay. And my family is really in the publishing business for over 60 years now. Okay. So you can say that I grew up in that line of business. However, when there was an opportunity in 1993, the USAID funded a study that identified franchising as the fastest growing sector of the retail industry. I really got so interested. They even sent 10 speakers from the United States, the International Franchise Association, and they gave a seminar about franchising. This really got me interested. Then in 1994, I personally came up with another franchise seminar, and I was only targeting maybe 300 packs, but maybe 600 came. I didn't know where to put them. Standing room only, yes. So in 1995, we, with Sammy Lim and Manny Sigawat, we set up the Philippine Franchise Association. Of course, as our first chairman was Titoy Pardo of Wendy's 7-Eleven. Okay. We also had Jollibee there, McDonald's, Pizza Hut, and the other big brands. We said that let us put up a franchise association because there are really many opportunities. There are many SMEs that would like to go into franchising. So at that time, before the Philippine Franchise Association, we were all Philippine Retailers Association. So we set up the association, and at the time, we didn't have any franchise yet. Okay, so we just thought of what can we bring to the Philippines? And we said, Philippines at that time was really lagging behind. We were just next to Bangladesh. So we said, yeah, so we said we must really be able to bring concepts, grow them, but the proper way. It cannot be, you know, that now you see them, now you don't. Right. Okay, so I went to the United States and I joined the franchise show, and I would ask them, because what we really wanted to bring was the one who did Jollibee. Yes. We didn't know who it was, but I went to the US and I asked them, have you done any concept in the Philippines? And the others would say, no, but I would love to. Then we met FranCorp, who said, yes, we did Jollibee. So that was the time that I told them, can we apply for a franchise to bring to the Philippines? Yeah, of course, it's an arm and a leg to bring them to the Philippines, but we really felt that we must have something that can bring our brands big in the Philippines and also globally. So we started, we had our training in 1996 in Chicago. So officially we started in 1997 in the Philippines. And just to mention some of the brands that we did were Penshoppe, and the others like Camiseta, Bio. But on the food side, we did Goldilocks, Max Group, even Pancake House, and all that. And we were really able to bring them. At that time, Max had only one brand and they had like 50 stores already.
Okay.
But now they have 750 stores through franchising, and they are in the US, in the Middle East, in different parts of the world.
Sure.
Then we also did, as you know, you met Joe Mag.
Yep.
And the story of Joe Mag was he was with Wendy's. Okay. Yeah, but his brother-in-law said, "Hey, Joe, there is this popcorn, okay, that was, people were queuing. It was flavored popcorn, okay." And Joe Mag said, "Do you have anything that we can, do that also?" And they came up with French fries because, he was doing it every day in Wendy's. So much so that when Mr. Pardo found out, he asked, "Joe, is it true you put a potato corner?" And then he said, "Yes, sir, I put it up." The next time he was called in, he asked him again, "Joe Mag, choose Wendy's or potato corner?"
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and he chose potato corner.
Yes.
But he was just small at the time. So he said, right, he needed funding and all that. So he had partners, and it was called Cinco Holdings.
Okay.
And he was not the president because he was working for Mr. Donut. However, the one running potato corner at that time passed away. So the next president would be Joe Mag. And since there were five, one of them told him, "Joe Mag, buy me out now while I can get something from it." So when Joe Mag heard that, he really felt, "Oh, what is this? Am I already, in the decline?" Because at the time, there were just so many French fries brands that were in the market because, it was really so simple, mom and pop. So anybody can also put up and put, the flavorings in the French fries. Then he came to see me and he said, "How long do you think will I last?" And then I said, "Why? How about you?" Then he said, 5 years, because 5 years, they will have enough already. They would have made money already and all that. I said, "No, Joe, you cannot be only 5 years because when you have a franchise, you have to be able to support your franchises the longest time."
Yeah.
Because when we do FranCorp, we really have to go through. The foundation is very important. We have to do the strategic planning. And so I asked him, "Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?" That was when he said that he really wanted to grow it, but he had other brands also when I was doing him. It was not only Potato Corner. He had maybe 5 other brands with him. And I said, "We must focus." Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, and a year after I did him, I really could see the potential. Okay. And I even branded him as the king of kiosks. Got flack from the others, and they told me, "Bing, how come you will put him king of kiosks and he is not the king of kiosks?" And then, of course, I just say. And after that, maybe if I did maybe another 10 years, he would go to me again and he said, being somebody's interested to bring potato corner. Oh, during the financial crisis in the US,
Okay.
what year was that? Maybe 2008, 2009,
Yes,
something.
2008, yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't buy. The one who got potato corner said, Joe, I cannot open any franchise here in the US. They're too expensive. Can I bring potato corner in the US? And Joe Mag talked to the consultants in the US and they told him, Joe, no, you cannot bring potato corner in the US because French fries are free in the US. But I still told him, Joe Mag, there's an opportunity for kiosk in the US.
Yeah.
You go there, but you must do everything right from the
Yes.
start. Okay, so that was, and then he said, are you sure, being ganyan? You know how he was. And I said, yes. Then we worked, he was able to get a lawyer there. I said, because the franchise agreement I did has no disclosure document, and that's very important in the US. You must see the lawyer there, and every state has different franchise laws.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to abide by all those. Oh, it's difficult. Go, but do it right. And you see where he is now. He's not
So
only.
yeah, Bing, just for people who might not know, there's some people, but Potato Corner is the organization we're talking about. Joe Mag Saisai, who you worked with very early on. So how many locations does Joe have now in the US and other countries? Do you
I
estimate?
think in the US, they just opened again another one in Anita Hall Mall. I think he has over 100 in the US.
Wow. Okay.
And then in Thailand, he also has almost 100.
Does he?
In
Wow.
Indonesia, quite a number,
Okay.
also over 100, I think. Yeah, all in all, over 1,000. I just cannot recall how many total. Yes. So,
Yep.
yeah.
And he mentioned he's opening in the Gulf region, the Middle East countries as
Yeah.
well.
He
Big
has,
all over the world. So
yeah.
really
Because, it's French fries and they can easily buy it.
yes, that's right. And everybody likes French fries.
Yes.
Now, Bing, your company, Francor, many people, I mean, you're not so much a franchise organization as a company who helps franchise organizations. Is that how you would describe it? Maybe you could tell
Yeah.
us.
FranCorp is a franchise consulting firm
Okay.
from Chicago, USA. We are
Okay.
in 24 countries all over the world. But in the Philippines, we are the ones that have really grown. We have about 750 concepts that we have helped in the Philippines. Yes, and we grow many brands from one to many. And that's why I would receive several awards and all that, because I was able to help many micro businesses grow into where they are now.
Yeah.
Really, also. Because when we put up the Philippine Franchise Association, our mission is really to create thousands of entrepreneurs and generate millions of jobs.
Yes.
And that is our mantra. Up to this day, we like to generate jobs. Our country needs the jobs here. And we have really proven to government that it is through the franchise method that we were able to export brands. And they are so proud. Do you know, we have many seminars now in different countries. The commercial attaches always calls us to give seminars because there are many Filipinos in their countries that would like to get a franchise, either in the Philippines, so that instead of sending money to the relatives here,
Yes.
their franchise can be the one that can support the family. or even they themselves in the different countries where they are, they may want to put up also a franchise. And of course, this is exporting brands. And we believe we have been able to export brands there. Not just the Potato Corner, but the Max Group. Of course, we know about um, Jollibee. Yeah, Jollibee was the one who found Francorp in the US. He had only 2 Magnolia stores at that time. And because they added sandwiches in the Magnolia kiosk instead of just ice cream, he said, this is the time for me to change the brand. He changed it from Magnolia to Jolly, always happy, be hardworking. When he changed it to Jollibee, of course, people didn't really know what it was. And so he went to the United States. He attended the National Restaurant Show. And there was a seminar on franchising. And that's when he talked to Don Baroyan, the chairman of Francorp International. And he said, Don, I just have a new brand. How can I grow my brand? And Don told him, the best way for you is to franchise your business. And then he said, Don, you know, I have a dream. What is it? My dream is to be a McDonald's. And then, so Don tells him, but I must see your store in the Philippines. That's like that. So anyway, the rest is history. He got Francorp to do his program. And at that time in 1993 to 95, when we were looking at the different franchises, we already saw the potential of Jollibee and how well it was done and how well Tony Tan Kachong implemented the franchise map that he was doing. And up to now, he's growing, I think, 50 more stores overseas. Yes.
He is. If I can tell you, in my hometown city of Toronto, Canada, there's been 2 or 3 new stores just in the past 6 months, even though it was during the COVID, one not too far from where we live. And it's quite a surprise. But just for people with background who might not know, overseas people, but Jollibee is a Philippine brand, the only, call it burger chain, that's not the right word for it, but that's the only burger chain in the world to be able to compete with McDonald's and beat them. And it's used as, their success has been used as an MBA case studies with MBA programs all over the world, because this, small company from a, call it third world country, beat with the giant. I mean, it's unheard of, their success. So anyway, so they use that as a business example. So I didn't know that you had a working relationship with them, Bing, but I should have guessed that.
Yeah, it just actually, they were the ones who found Francorp in the US.
Okay.
Yeah, so every time Don Baroyan would come into the Philippines, he would invite them, and Tony himself would say he got Francorp and the rest is history.
I see. Interesting. Well, now, Bing, you mentioned your advocacy, putting, developing entrepreneurs, people putting up their own businesses. What are the reasons that people do this? What are they hoping to accomplish in their lives, and what kind of a mindset do they have, these people? What would you say from your experience?
For me, when I see them, I would see the potential, because they really come up with a concept that they want to grow. And when I see that concept, I even tell them how we can grow it further, because knowing what the future is, what are the sunrise industries, how do we tweak it so that it goes to the sunrise industry? Just like now, because of the pandemic, it has to be health, wellness, and all that is needed for the food and all. How do we tweak it? How do we now? Digitalization is very important, right? So we have to do all of these, and we tell them, let's eventually and slowly go for it. because that is the future. We must innovate. So even my current clients, I'm telling them it's time for us to innovate because of this pandemic. It is isn't it? They're always saying, what is the new normal now and all that. So we really have to innovate what we have. But the others, they really have something that is firm already, that is theirs, just like Potato Corner. Can you imagine? Well, they are not the only ones. We also have Waffle Time. Waffle Time, can you imagine when we were doing it, they are only selling it for 12 pesos. Even up to now, it's only like 17, 18, 20 pesos versus the fries that are 65, 75 and all. So you really have to sell so much. And it's really for the mass. Yeah,
Yes.
because for them, they need something, a comfort food that is not that expensive. It's cheaper
Yes.
than sandwich. Okay. And they're able to go, they're almost 1,000 now in the Philippines. But the concept is really for, massa, the mass to really have something to eat.
Yes, of course.
But not only even in the premier malls, they have Waffle Time.
Okay. Well, now, Bing, what kind of people should consider buying a franchise? I mean, because being your own business is not for everybody, or is it? You tell me.
It's not for
Just
everybody.
yeah, it's not for everybody. But what kind of people should they be? What kind of people are successful at it?
People that can follow, because you have a Bible, you have an operations manual
Yes.
that you must follow.
Okay.
So you must be able to follow it and not be creative and change it and that, because it won't work, because it
Okay.
was really patterned to replicate something that has been working. Now, if you are the creative type, we will tell them, oh, you come up with your own concept and we will replicate that. So the creative ones, we ask them to be entrepreneurs. We ask them to be franchisors. The franchisees, the good ones, would be like the teachers, those that have been used to following the system. They must follow the system. Otherwise, you won't. Remember, you had your guest, Mr. Nick Dow from
Yes.
Jollibee.
Yep.
He now has almost 40 or 50 Jollibees all over. So
Yep.
he has been a very good franchisee, but at the same time, so entrepreneurial that he was able to grow these franchises that he has. He grew them so well. That's why it's amazing that even if you follow a concept that is successful, you become entrepreneurial also in wanting to have more stores. Yeah, so
Well,
it can be both.
okay. Well, but Bing, why was what was different about Jess that he was successful and others that weren't successful? What was different about him?
As I mentioned, he knew how to follow.
Okay.
He knew
Okay.
how to follow, but he also saw some gaps there that if I do this, I can be more successful. He has an eye for that. And
Okay.
I must admire him for it, because he knows what is successful and he knows what to build on so that he can grow. He grew in the North Luzon area.
Yeah.
He saw the opportunities there and he said, if I put one here, I put one there and all, look at the people. He's been successful. That's what I'm saying. He also had an eye for it. Entrepreneurial, meaning I really want to grow.
Yes, and for those listening, Jess Nickdow, he's like you said, has 40 Jollibee franchises and others as well in the northern part of Luzon, and very active in Pampanga. I think he's president of the Pampanga Chamber of
Chamber of
Commerce.
Commerce, yes.
Yes. And a really heck of a nice fella too, I must add. Um, Now, Bing, what would be your future or the vision you have for the future of franchising in Philippines? Will there be many more Jollibee's potato corners, or what do you think is coming in the next 5 or 10 years?
Okay, because of this pandemic,
Okay.
there are many concepts that are born,
Hmm.
primarily in digitalization.
Okay.
Like, for example, the deliveries that we have, there are just so many that are growing. Yeah.
Okay.
And also, these are really necessities at this time. And there are also meals that they fix so that it's delivered to you, healthy meals, because people really like to be healthy.
Yep.
So anything on health. And by the way, 2021 to 2025 will be the golden age of franchising in the Philippines. You
Why?
know
Why?
why?
Okay.
Because there are many that are retrenched, retired, many overseas Filipinos that were forced to go home without any more contract. They're not going to find any jobs,
Mm.
right? So they are going to look for business opportunities. And one that is already ongoing, and they will just put it up. They have the money. They can start small, just like how Jess started. He said he also didn't have the money at that time, but he was able to grow it, and now he has so much money. Yeah. So we believe, and there is really like he started after the Ninoy, yeah, in the Philippines. After Ninoy passed away, the economy was really down, negative.
Yep.
Now, also, history repeats itself, and we believe there will be many that will be looking for opportunities. When we say franchising, we say windows of opportunities. And we believe in every crisis, there are opportunities, and franchising is one of them. And there are just too many concepts that we believe will come up with this pandemic. So I was mentioning those in digitalization because really, and also the payment method,
Yes.
okay? Because now we don't want to pay cash, right? We always want to transfer or what? How can I pay? So we have that we express that is like LBC and all that, the payment method. It's also growing. Also the Squid Pay, different payment schemes will be coming up soon. And we are excited to grow them because we feel our country needs them. Because like in China, they have the Alipay, right? And the Alipay is you just, when you go out, you pay everything, even the transport and all that, just swipe and swipe.
Yep.
And we are thinking soon we will also be there. Actually, I told Secretary Mon Lopez last year,
Okay.
Mon, we really must have our the cashless payments already. Let's
Yes.
go for it. And we organized it with with DTI, Banco Central and all. And now they have the e-commerce 2022, which will really encourage and protect the bills payments and all that. We believe that we can have more of this, and there are many opportunities and many will be franchised out. So because there must be services that must help us, not only Paymaya or GCash, but open it up also to
Yes.
others. And there are opportunities for this.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, it seems just from our side too, we organize these regular events, and most of our events have become or could be called tech events. where payment and delivery and these kinds of things is the main focus of it. So it's very exciting time. So I'm glad to hear you say that. Bing, what did you do before you became the mother of Philippine franchising?
Okay. First, after I graduated,
Okay.
I studied at Assumption and St. Teresa's. My father told me to go to the US and to study. At that time, of course, I also wanted the opportunity because I went to New York. I wanted the opportunity to work in Barnes and Nobles, in Macy's and all because of the discount. And then, but I was studying also at that time an interior design because, well, I just wanted some creativity. But after 2 years, my father asked me to come back and join the family business, which is in the publishing. We also had a bookstore that time.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was helping the family, and I think it was like a big task. But as I mentioned, in the early 90s, when I found out that there is an opportunity in franchising, I told my family I would like to put up another business, another line. And they said, oh, go. They were supportive. They said, go ahead, but you know, it's very new in the Philippines and I'm not sure. But anyway, it was difficult to start franchising because they would say, oh, they will copy my system. You know, they all had so many, they didn't know that you have proprietary products and something that you don't have to reveal everything to your franchisees. And so it was a difficult climb.
Sure.
But we have been successful in it and we have helped many. Yes, they grow because even the generics pharmacy, they started only with one store.
I see.
And now they have over 2,000.
2,000.
And had clients, I have just finished their program and they are bought out by the billion.
Yes, yes.
Yes, they are.
Wow.
They have a concept, and then eventually after that, there is a buyer already
I see.
for their brand.
Good.
Yeah, so I believe it works. And many of those that you see that are billionaires, they started small also.
Sure.
That's why they would say the Philippine Franchise Association is only for big boys, they said. No, they were not big before.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, even the Franchise Association is able to help them because we have our annual Franchise Asia show.
Yes.
It's an expo wherein the new brands exhibit there and different all over the Philippines, they would say, oh, this is available, this is available. I would like to bring you to my town. I want to bring you here and all. That is their way of expanding. So we were able to work together for them to grow. And this is one way how and then they will say the next year, I cannot join you anymore this year. Why? You know, I have so many applicants and I haven't even given them any location. I cannot find the location, they will say. Yeah,
I've heard that. Just a tremendous success, Bing. Yeah, I remember I was talking to someone from Europe. I think she spoke at your event, and she was amazed that and she speaks all over the world for franchising. I think she's from France, and she was just amazed at the show and the numbers of people who were interested to sign up. And she said, I've never seen this before. So much interest and growth in franchising in Philippines. Yes. So
yeah, the other countries are amazed, really.
they are amazed.
Yeah, but they could see because those that bought a franchise, just like our friend Jess, you know, they would see them, they would grow. Yeah.
Yes,
He
absolutely.
grown so much. Yeah. I would
Now,
see him in Jollibee Plaza, Jess, huh?
yep.
And I would see his cars. He has so many of those cars. Yeah. And of course, because I was president of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the year he was president, and we would work together, and I would see how he grew.
Okay,
And
well, good.
through franchising, he would say, huh? He said, before, I didn't have the money, diba? He said, yeah, but now, Don, I would call him Don Jesus. I'm so proud of them.
So
I'm
am I. It's so good to see, Bing. Now,
really,
Bing, for you though, now you seem to have a real flair with marketing. You know, coming up with this concept of the king of kiosk and these different concepts that you've done for many of your clients. Do you have? Do you consider yourself to be a marketing person, or what do you think about the kind of person you are? Um, as far as what you offer to your clients.
well, because my clients become like, I'm really part of their growth. Okay,
Yes.
so every opportunity I see where I can build them, like, for example, I feel this product will do very well abroad. We have something. This is Orispa, okay? Orispa is made of rice bran. Cheryl Quintana, who is now the president of the Philippine Franchise Association.
Okay.
Because when I feel that they discovered something, I would really push her to the different, for example, ambassador to this country, ambassador there. Give them your products, give them your products, because they need this. As a matter of fact, I sent Tony Tan Katyong and Ato Tan Manchong a set of her products, okay, because we're in the same building. Well, I just sent it. I was not able to explain. And then when Don Brian came to the Philippines, we had a seminar at Crown
Okay.
Plaza,
Yep.
and Tony was there with Don Brian, and I introduced Orispa, Cheryl Quintana, to him. I said, do you know this is Cheryl Quintana? She is the L'Occitane in the Philippines. Oh, I know that. And then he brings out the balm, the Orispa balm, which is, I told them, this beats the other balms of the different countries. Because when you put it, you will say, who is that old person there? Because you can smell, something.
Right.
Yeah, you can smell them, and
Yes.
you can smell the pain. But this balm, the smell is for millennials. It's so different kind of smell. You don't mind putting it because you don't feel like an old person with
Okay.
aches. Yeah, and when I see that they have products that we must be proud of, I would
Correct.
tell her, you join this. There is that ASEAN Business Awards, join it. She won. She lost the first time because it was like, for example, so many cosmetics in Asia. But when she joined for medicinal, for health, she won.
I see.
Yeah, so I wouldn't really call myself marketing, but I would look at opportunities where they can excel, and I really put them there so that they must win because they are winnable. So when I see clients that are really, for example, somebody now in digitalization, I would really encourage them. I would really tell them this is how we should go, this is how we should do it. So I also tell them what are the opportunities. You can say, I can see more or less where to put them.
I
And
see.
like
Okay.
there,
Interesting.
yeah.
Well, Bing, maybe if I could ask you a bit about yourself, though. Do you consider yourself an extroverted person, or are you an introvert? Were you good at school or not so good? Did you follow the rules, or were you rebellious? How would you describe yourself, Bing?
Well, I was just middle in school,
Okay.
but in high school, they already sent me, they saw me as a leader.
I
They sent me the student action. There was like a seminar or a camp both in Baguio, and I was chosen in the, for example, I was first year. They only chose 3 from first year, 3 from second year, and I was the one chosen. So we had the leadership seminars way back at the time. And so, of course, you would excel yourself. You want to be a leader. And what do you do to be a leader, right? So I was there. I was chosen. I was selected, actually.
see.
I
Okay,
really
people
don't
saw
know
that.
why I was selected. At first, I'm not really not like the others in class. They're really so loud, I wouldn't say that I'm loud, but extrovert, meaning I would like to meet people. I would like to meet people. If there is an opportunity to meet them, I want to meet them.
Yes,
And
I believe that.
yes, I like to meet them and I want to talk to them because my father and my mother, they're both businessmen.
I see.
My father is a doctor of law from Yale.
Because of the war, he had no clients.
Oh,
Then
I
my
see.
mother, yeah, then my mother, they moved out of our house during the war and they came back in 1945 and she found that they made our house a depot. The Japanese made our house the depot and she saw supplies like paper, toilet papers in our house. So she got a table in Rizal Avenue and she started selling the paper products she found
Oh,
in the house.
geez.
So that is the start of Alamars, just a table, and they were able to grow it. But then my father really said, what our country needs are locally authored books. So that is when they started publishing textbooks,
Okay.
but are locally authored. And up to this day, we are able to sell to 65% of the private schools in the country. And unfortunately, with this pandemic, it has gone down.
I
But
see.
because we also came up with, we were able to come up with ARA-Links, which is digital inform, but still tomorrow we have a meeting with Secretary Mon and Cabinet Secretary Nograles, and we will push for opening up the face-to-face education, because otherwise our country will be left behind if they're not really able to learn much in face-to-face. So we will appeal and say that let's open it up. If it's 15 years old and above, why not? So we feel that the textbooks are very needed. So this has been the business from that time on, more than 60 years ago. And up to now, my parents left it now with my 2 sisters are the ones running it, or 3 sisters are the ones running it. However, my other brother is also into Phoenix Educational. They bring in educational books and they really sell to libraries. So book business is really our business.
I see.
Yes.
Okay.
So
And so
that
you,
was,
yeah, and you saw that at an early age then,
yeah.
being an
We,
entrepreneurship.
I was only 6 years old. I was already asked to work. So
Good.
so working for us on Saturdays, where the others sleep late, I have to wake up early and work. So the training I feel is really good.
Sure.
Now I really wake up early so that I can do more then yeah, and finish.
That's
Finish late.
tremendous that your parents enabled that. Bing, do you think, though, I mean, you've seen so many entrepreneurs do well. Now, you seem to be well, your parents maybe trained it in you at an early age, but do you think successful entrepreneurs are born with something different, or do you think they are created through upbringing? What's your
Just look at
opinion
our taipans.
Okay.
Henry C,
Yeah.
even you know,
Tony Tan.
Gokong Wei, Tony
Gokong
Tan, and
Wei.
all, they were not born. They were created, really, because they could see the opportunities there. And also the need for Henry C. Tatang, the need. He said, if I can only put one pair of shoes for every Filipino, at the time there were 40 million Filipinos, 4 million Filipinos, he said like that.
Yeah.
So there is, they have a dream. They were not born with it. They created it.
Okay.
And so with Tony Tan Katyong, he wanted to be a McDonald's. That was his dream. So now he always says, dream big. And if once you get it, dream bigger, he says.
Correct. Okay. Well, something others have said, Bing, is that sales skills seem to be important for entrepreneurs. Do you agree with that, or are there other things more important? What do you think?
I still believe in the need. There's a need for it. Yeah.
Okay.
And because there's a need, they will come up. They could sell so well. Because I have met many entrepreneurs. They were so shy in the start.
I see.
Maybe they did not have much confidence yet. But
Okay.
once they know where they are going, and I would tell them, this is where we are going. This is where you see yourself in the next 5 years. Oh, you can see they become confident.
Okay.
They would say, yes, I would like to go there. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe if you will see, I want to give you the story of Ben Luson.
Yes.
Who started with one store in Banawe.
Okay.
When he started, he had so many hang-ups. He said, oh, how do you think the drugstore association they did not even come close to a mercury. He would say, what happened to the drug as generic, there was this Butika ng Bayan, okay? It's the government and it did not grow. Says like that. So can you imagine, I have to refute all of those. I told him, you are not going to be a mercury drug. You must have your own niche. He said, I'm going to sign up with you if you tell me I can have 1,000 stores. Mga ganyan. So I told him, you're going to have 1,000 stores. He said. And look at now, he has double the stores that he wanted. Yeah. Sometimes you just have to give them confidence also. Because they have a dream, they want to go there. But, on their own, sometimes they're afraid.
So now, this is what you're doing, is motivating people and inspiring them, it seems.
Yes.
Okay. Do you think anybody can be motivated, or just certain people? And is this the way you do it? You give them a vision of their future?
Well, we have many clients.
Yes.
The others, we were able to do the program and we told them this is how we should go. But still, they're afraid. So many reasons. They will say, no, I don't want to franchise because my franchisee might not be able to run it like the way we do. Okay. I'll put it first aside because I want to grow on our own. So those, sometimes I really would go back to them and how are we now and all that. They're happy with what they have.
Okay.
Yeah. So that one, it's really difficult to push because they will say it's not only them, it's the whole family. He would like to, but the family doesn't want to. So that one, it's difficult.
Yeah, okay. All right. And Bing, now financial management is also very important because sometimes people, you know, an entrepreneur starts to make a bit of money, thinks he's successful, starts buying cars, maybe extra girlfriends, and he's buying purses and shoes. You know, it gets really expensive, and sometimes they can get into trouble. Do you help them manage their finances as well?
Yes, in the operations manual, we have a chapter there about finance, and we tell them what you can only put in your FS, nothing for the salary of the maids or the cars and all that. We tell them those that followed it, like for example, this is how much you will make, and this is how much you will pay yourself. You cannot afford to buy those things initially, maybe in the future, but initially this is what you should only pay for. So we inculcate to them the discipline of following. That's why even earlier I said those that know how to follow will be successful. So we put in the discipline, and it's very important. I also saw that those that did not do well, they were not able to discipline themselves because they would have so many extra. And we said, no, that cannot be in your FS. All the extra of the, the salary of these, and I don't know who else, we don't allow that.
Good. Okay.
There is really, we only allow, these are the only ones allowed in your FS.
Okay. And now, you know, Bing, we've had you speak for a couple of or at least one of our women's events, and people, a lot of women in particular, really look up to you as a prominent leader that has really made a big impact on the nation. Many women would like to follow in your footsteps. What advice would you give, professional women, either entrepreneurs or just career-driven women, in how you manage both the business side and your family relationships? What advice would you give?
Okay, maybe they saw me. I was the president of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce for 2 years, and I'm the second one who became president.
Okay.
It is dealing with how many men in the board? Let me say about 18 men in the board, and they really have different ideas. How do you go about it? It is really in leading that you can tell them also about this. So with me, when I became president, of course, my children, I only have two. They're already, grown ups. So I really didn't have to. But the business, at that time, I had the son of Sammy Lim who helped out in Francorp.
Okay.
And fortunately, he came from he came from UK, and he's the one helping us now.
Okay.
So at that time, I was able to train somebody so that they can handle the job, but I can still overlook that. But really, in leading, we have to be determined. We must have set rules. We have to say what should be done. Okay, planning is very important when I was leading there. But of course, now I'm the chairman. I'm the first female chairman of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And unfortunately, we are in a pandemic. So most of what we are doing, though we were able to help and award also the frontliners like the doctors and nurses, we awarded them last November.
Okay.
But initially when we started, we really gave food also to the frontliners because they're really overworked and they don't have food. So we also gave them so much of the food. Personally, I mean, in another not the Philippine Chamber, but we have to look for donors for that. And we have been successful in doing it. Really, at this time of the pandemic, we really have to reach out to the others. I think there is more joy in giving than receiving.
True.
So we really have to share now.
Okay. And any advice dealing with men? How, I mean, you have dealt with mainly men in your business. What tips? I mean, some women find them. I mean, I find them nice to deal with, but not all women do. What any advice you might pass on? I don't know if
Oh,
there
well,
is.
after dealing with many men,
Yes.
what happens? I learned to listen. I
Okay.
must listen first. And that's what I did. I would listen to them and I would get what is workable, what can we do, and that is what we will work with. But for me, it is listening, learning to listen to them,
All right.
because they make a lot of sense, but sometimes it's just not feasible. So we also would say, let's work with what we can.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Bing. And now, Bing, you mentioned health concepts, and you seem interested and really focused on healthy living and so forth. Do you, now you work long hours still, but do you have a health program that you have, certain eating and exercise? And how good are you at following
Yeah. Oh, I disciplined myself
it?
in exercise.
Oh,
Okay.
good.
So I do Zumba because I love to
Okay.
dance. So Zumba, because sometimes the exercise they get boring. I
Yes.
do Zumba and I enjoy it. Yes. And then I go to a doctor on integrative medicine and I have a lot of supplements. Like for
Okay.
example, they said D3 is very important. So I have those important that are needed, the vitamin C, the whatever vitamins that we need, the doctor would recommend to me.
I see.
And I think I'm able to, I must follow, otherwise. So we have to put discipline when it comes to these things too.
We do.
Yeah. Because if we want to live longer, yeah.
Correct. Very important. You know, I see a lot of really talented, good people, but they don't look after their health. And once you hit 50, I found it gets more difficult if you're not looking after yourself. So now, Bing, you have a lot of dealings with a lot of different industries and successful business people. What do you think are some of the main transformations occurring right now in the workplace, in the economy, that will stay over the next few years? You know, after the pandemic, some things will turn back to normal, some things will never. What do you think are some of the things that will be with us for a long time to come?
Okay. Definitely because of the pandemic,
Yep.
the those that are needed most, the industry that will be needed most will stay. Okay. Just like the health and wellness,
Okay.
food business, but not all food, because the healthy food will stay.
Yes.
And well, the others we must tweak it a bit so that it becomes healthy. Yeah,
Yes.
because
Okay. So health.
they will have an alternate for, and they're starting to do that too. Okay. And I really believe right now the retail business is very much affected.
Yes, it
That's
is.
why we keep saying, please, please, let's do more vaccination. People don't want to go out and buy anything in the not necessity, but they really have to buy their clothes, right? And shoes and all that. But as of now, Not yet, because they're
Yeah.
just at home. But tomorrow, as I mentioned, we will appeal to government to expedite the vaccination. We, as the private sector, with Go Negosyo, Joey Concepcion, we are bringing in AstraZeneca, Moderna, but their arrival is still in June, July.
Is it?
So, but it's quite a big quantity that we are bringing in.
Is
But
it?
we really believe so that we will go back to the new normal. Vaccination is really the answer.
It is, yeah. Okay. Well, Bing, can I ask you then, when things do go back to the normal, vaccinations come and things get back to normal, what are some of the big or the main opportunities you think Philippines has for the future as a nation? Franchising is certainly one of them. I think it's going to continue to be a growing force. What else would you think of as a big opportunity for the future in Philippines?
When you ask about the sunrise industries,
Yeah.
it's again, anything for health.
Okay. Okay.
Health, wellness is still there.
All right.
Necessities are food. Yeah.
Yep.
So we have to really look for where can we come in. Yeah, because the others, even if they're junk food, the junk food they put, they come up with something that has vitamins in it, like instead of just
Oh,
plain potatoes or what, they put taro and all
okay.
that. So it's really trying to put something in your product, but you still produce it that way, but there's vitamin something in it because they would
Smart.
like to have something that is healthy.
Yes. Okay, that's
Yeah.
a good one. Okay.
Yeah. And then also on the cosmetic type and all, the Filipinos, when there's a crisis, they still like to look pretty. Yeah. So in that line, so there are so many, even in the physical, the doctors and all, they go for it, like Vicky Bello and all, but they're not, the others can come up with, now they have vitamins that are injected in them.
See.
So anything that way they add to their salon, because the salon itself for the hair and all, they are not that, I'm not sure how, but do you know, let me tell you, like Reyes hair cutters is not inside anymore the salon. The salon is in the garden already
I see.
because they don't like, they don't like you to be, cooped up. So
Yep.
they came up with the idea that it's open air, because even dining now, they really allow open air.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, that's where it's going. So now they would mix both. For some, there's just a small one that's aircon, and the others are really open.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
Bing, interesting. And Bing, now, other than the COVID thing, but is there anything else holding the country back that you see, or what could be any challenges ahead for the country, or is it all smooth sailing ahead?
Okay, in 2019, we were on track to be the fastest growing in Asia.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe in 2022
Okay.
or 2023, because we are in the dawn of the Asian century. The
Yes.
growth will be here in Asia. Okay. And the Philippines is still going to be in the center. It
Okay.
was just delayed.
Wow,
And
good.
I believe that we will still be the next tiger economy. I
Okay.
just cannot say how soon, but we are getting there.
Okay, good. Okay, that's exciting to hear. I'm so glad to hear you so positive about that. Bing, maybe one final question about you yourself. What is your future? I mean, you've worked long, hard, many good years, made tremendous contributions. Are you going to slow down anytime soon, or is it still full speed ahead? What's your plans from this point forward?
Of course, what happens is we have to train the younger generation so that
Yes.
even if you're not that active anymore, you have people doing it. So we are still there training them. And we hope to, even in our organization, when I was president of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce, I put in Japsia in the board.
Okay.
Dennis Uy, younger generation, because we
Wow.
really feel Jeffrey Nang of the Cathay Land is also in the Franchise Association. We have started putting younger presidents. We started with Dr. Alan Escalona of Fruit Magic. Then it was Richard Sands of Bibing Kinitan and other brands. And now we have Cheryl Quintana of Oraispa.
I see.
Yeah.
Very
So we
good.
really put already the people who should handle it.
Sure.
Yeah.
And for people listening who might be outside the country, these are prominent people, certainly within Philippines, in Japsia of Double Dragon, and also Mang Inasal. He was a big success with that food chain and others. So that's really good to hear, Bing. Yeah, well done.
So yeah, so we believe that it will even grow further because
Yes.
we put the young people there with
Okay.
their stamina and energy.
But we still need some, older people like us, I think, Bing, for our
Oh,
experience, do you think?
oh
Or
yeah, we'll still be there in the board.
okay.
They still put us in the board because they really need advisors because experience is really the best teacher.
Sure it is. And so for you, over, let's say 5 years from now, where do you see yourself, Bing? Will you be mainly retired, slowing down, or you just going to keep on going?
Well, if my health is still there, I
Yes.
still like to meet those young entrepreneurs and
Okay.
just listen to where they are now, and maybe I can still tell them a little advice here and there. I think that's how I want to be advisor,
Very
maybe.
good. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I agree. Young people are good to be around because their youthful enthusiasm keeps you young. Um, Bing, very, very lovely to speak with you. I apologize for pronouncing your name incorrectly, but Bing Limjoco, I will do that properly now. Um, but thank you very much. This was really, really nice to get to know you and to learn more about the franchising business. So again, really, really appreciate your time, Bing. Such a
Thank
pleasure.
you. Thank you so much for that I'm able to share.
You are. I think you give a good background now so people can really understand the concept and can now start to think about their own, either as an entrepreneur or as like you said, a franchisee successfully. So again, Bing, thank you. And please keep up your fantastic work. You are an inspiration to many, many people.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
So thank you very much, Bing Limjoco. That was Going Deep with me, Richard Mills. And what a session that was. A story with an interesting person and an inspiring information. I had no idea she worked with some of the nation's leading entrepreneurs building franchise operations across the nation and now across the world. So thank you again. That was Bing Limjoco on Going Deep with me, Richard Mills.